And boom, we are live.
All
Welcome. We're
right.
back. 2.5 Oyajis.
Yeah. Good to see you,
Back
man.
with Victor. Good
Long
to see
time no
you.
see.
Long
Yeah.
time no see.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, we have an unexpected, what?
what?
Aaron, my money's on Victor's mic. Okay.
Oh,
Uh,
on the technical issue. No, it was Victor's login, but
yes.
you were close.
Close. The mic is okay.
You get a half
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Look, there's a lot of topics to talk about tonight. One which I didn't know about till Victor actually mentioned earlier today. I hadn't realized that. I suppose a J vlogger, a member of the community.
Yeah.
He had been at a few of the get-togethers and so on. I didn't actually even realize he was sick. I see some people in the comments actually, like Dan H calling out, they realized that he was sick. Tokyo Drew. And Victor, I mean, you know more of the details than me, so maybe.
Well, no, I knew he was sick, but I thought he got over it. I thought it was fine. I heard months ago that he'd been sick, but I didn't think it was that serious. 'Cause I thought I would have heard something about it, but you know. So Tokyo Drew came to Nagoya about 6 years ago and met up with me, Chris Rennie, who we went to the comedy show together, and Tomoko.
Yeah.
And I think Nico was there too, but not really. I think there was someone else there. Yeah. Anyway, that's about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of live shows. I knew that. I know he was a. Do you remember Japan Circle Jerk?
I'm familiar. I'm familiar with the forum. Yes.
He was
maybe
he was a Reddit. It's a Reddit troll site that's been banned. It doesn't exist anymore. But they were not fond of Tokyo.
I mean, who were they fond of?
No, nobody.
So this is the thing. So originally when you said, so Victor said to me in the chat today that he pissed some people off, and I was like, who? And he said Tokyo Circle Jerk, and I was like, who doesn't? I mean, it's basically just a bunch of angry, disgruntled expats who just go there basically to sort of troll and so on. So I wouldn't consider that certifies him necessarily, but they were pissed off. You were saying that they were pissed off at some things like the vlogging outside, but that's completely sort of normal now, right?
Yeah. It's nothing compared. Like, if you think about it, what's been happening now recently with that Sigma boy and Johnny Somali and that guy in the Philippines, I forgot his name.
Yeah.
People much worse. I mean, they make Tokyo Drew look like a true saint, and now he is. So, it's really unfortunate. He was a very friendly guy.
Yeah.
He had a very
strong.
He had a really strong community. He would live stream all the time. And it was really interesting. I don't know how he did it. Like, I don't know how he found it. I think he would wake up every morning, drink a coffee, and walk around. I watched a few of them way back in the day. But, he got busy with kids and family.
He'd walk between pubs and stuff like that. His wife or girlfriend would walk around with him. And, I think he was in a neighborhood close to mine. So I'd recognize who he was walking around sometimes. He's always inviting people out and stuff like that. So, really nice, friendly guy. Some
and very unfortunate. Yeah.
So we'll talk about this, and Victor mentioned Dave seems to know him pretty well, so we'll invite Dave to join for a little bit. I don't want the whole thing. This isn't exactly the service or anything like that. Neither Victor nor I knew him really well, but it is worth it is a bit of news. You said, speaking of becoming a saint, congratulations, I suppose. If you think of popes as like soccer teams, it's like both of your teams got there, Peru and America, all in like one go, even though you're technically an atheist now. Well, how does this work?
A couple just interesting notes for me personally, because he was 57.
Oh, 57. So that's
and I'm 57. No, I'm
same.
exactly. We're the same age. I didn't realize that. I thought he was a little younger. But he's full of life. Pretty shocking. There's a new Bill Burr stand-up comedy show out called Drop Dead, something like Drop Dead or something. Drop Dead Years. And it all talks about, basically it's based on the theory, on his idea that men are our age, anyone over 50 and up to 65, even if you're healthy, we just tend to drop dead for no reason. We're just walking around and suddenly you fall.
As my father would say, speak for yourself, white woman. I'm not over 50 yet. I'm going to savor every day remaining. There's about 100 days remaining that I get to say that. So I'm going to enjoy every day.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah,
it's a shame, but I thought we should, I quit drinking, but I'm going to have a strong zero.
I'm
I
gonna
quit
go
drinking.
stronger than usual.
I started drinking. Oh, what are you drinking? Lemon juice.
No, this is Aquarius. This is the hard stuff. This is Aquarius.
Aquarius. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he liked to drink strong zeros, I think, and I used to walk around and do live shows on strong zeros. So this is for Tokyo Drew,
Yeah.
and my nuts T-shirts here. So there you go. Anyway,
to your nuts.
So, what I heard is that he had lung cancer.
Yeah.
And he did smoke quite a lot in his live shows. And then the cancer metastasized. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Pronounce that wrong.
Zach was saying metastasized to brain cancer. So it's
and I think he had like 6 tumors in his brain, and they were trying something called like gamma knife radiation in his brain, which is focuses gamma rays right on your brain, which I thought was kind of cool because that's how you become the Hulk, right? But in this case, it didn't work out.
No, it's very sad.
So that's what's happening. So I don't know how to get Ronan Dave onto the show. I gave him a link, but he doesn't seem to be.
He's there. I'm gonna add him in. Okay, so we'll come back. Everybody wants to hear about the Pope, of course. We will come back to the Pope, but first, Ronnie Dave, since he knew the guy, I'm just gonna add him to the chat right now for a little bit.
Okay. Oh, you can see them. Okay.
Yeah. So.
There he is.
Dave.
In the dark. Jesus.
Live.
Streaming straight from hell, I think.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can. Hearing you is the only thing I can do, but yes.
You're a bit dark.
Yeah.
No, I was afraid the way my light is set up, it kind of causes a glare on the camera.
It's cool. I can see it looks very sci-fi. So yeah. So you were mates with Drew, right? I mean, I think I met him a couple of times, but I wouldn't say that I knew him. But yeah,
well, I wasn't like we didn't meet all the time. Like I wasn't a huge friend. I'd like his.
Oh, he's frozen. I don't.
So he's dark and frozen. Is, maybe he really is.
Maybe that's Tokyo Drew. There he is.
There we go.
But yeah, I would bump into him occasionally because we were often in the same areas. Like one time he was doing a live stream in Ikebukuro, and I just happened to walk up on him.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, we did a stream together 6 years ago, but his is much more recent, 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought maybe you could just give us a little anecdote about something that happened during one of your streams or something. But we don't like Hiko said, you don't want to keep it too long. Just
yeah. Oh, and just off note, I'm also Catholic. If you want to ask my opinion about the Pope.
Okay.
But yeah, the one thing is like, I often would bump into him briefly, just because we'd run into each other in the same areas. And you were talking about Japan circle jerk. That was where, like, I often would like sometimes like peek in there to see what was going on and make sure I wasn't in there. And
you were there. You didn't like you either.
Oh, I'm sure they wouldn't. But yeah, I would often ask them about that because they were pretty damn vicious against me. But the funny thing was, like, despite
there we go. Yep, I think we're gonna have to do another show remembering Ronan Dave after this.
But anyway, whenever I'd mention it to him, he'd immediately just blow it off and go, those guys don't bother me.
Which is exactly how you should react to it.
Yeah. So like when he was off camera, he's like, whatever. They bring in views. I don't care. And I always thought that was great because they were really vicious going after him until I think it was one of Zach's friends that actually contributed to their downfall.
Yeah.
And that's
that's another story, but that's an interesting story. We should have those guys on sometime, talk about the downfall of Japan circle jerk.
Are you saying that we should have Japan circle jerk on here?
No, the guys who brought them down.
Oh, okay. Well, that'd be
I think Kanto knows something about that too.
I know nothing about that, but it sounds like a good story.
Yeah. Ronan, you got any quick little anecdote about something?
Oh, well, that was the main thing. I was saying the guy was full of life. He was living his best life as he could. Was always out and about doing stuff, and so Japan circle jerk thought they were getting him, but he didn't care. He, the best revenge is living life well.
Yes, it is. So I'm not sure that our atheist, Protestant, and Catholic joke is going to go very well here. Hey Dave, no, thanks for sharing. Anyway, it looks like your stream is a bit you keep dropping out a little bit, so we'll continue on. I would have actually enjoyed hearing the since we kind of have a
connection's really bad, man.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm on a 2017 MacBook.
Oh,
okay.
Wow, that's impressive. It still works.
Yeah.
Well, what about Zach? Maybe Zach's got something.
Can you send the invite to Zach?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
I was gonna say I went to Catholic school for 6 years until someone left the window open and haven't been back since.
Yeah.
I think Americans are really happy about the fact that it's in America, and even the ones who don't like Catholics, which is quite a few Americans. Hey, do Protestants hate Catholics?
No,
I
find typically it's the Catholics that hate the Catholics the most. The Protestants are just kind of like looking, oh my God, what's going on with those people fighting with each other kind of thing.
No, I had a good friend I have a good friend who recently found out I was raised Catholic, and he was quite disappointed.
Well, he was disappointed that you were raised Catholic?
That I was Catholic, yeah. I was like, really? I mean, I didn't understand his, I don't understand that, you know. But,
some denominations in the South think Catholics aren't even Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
no, anyone fundamentalist doesn't think that because there are idol worshippers and all that is the hardcore Protestant view. Most Protestants don't give a shit. I mean, when I grew up, and there was like a Protestant church and a Catholic church, and half the town went to one and half went to the other. And you know, I did remember that we would have the I went to the Anglican to the Protestant church, and we'd have picnics together, and the Catholics had to say grace. And the Protestants didn't give a shit. So while the Catholics were saying, okay, everybody, we have to say grace, all the Protestant kids are taking all the food and all the Catholics were panicking. And I thought that was the difference fundamentally between the two religions. And I felt like I'd made the right choice. But yeah, it is kind of...
there've only been two American presidents who are Catholic, Kennedy and Biden.
Oh, was Biden Catholic?
Yeah, he was Catholic.
That's right.
He was Catholic. He's still alive.
Yeah.
Well, and Kennedy got shot, and Biden, I don't think he was ever alive in his presidency.
I sent the link to Zach.
Okay. Hey Dave, I'm sorry, I'm gonna boot you because your stream is like all over the place whenever you start talking. So it's not you personally. Your connection's terrible, but thanks for joining.
Just for Drew.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's too bad. Anyway, but there are some live streams. There are some live streams with Dave and Andrew. Andrew Chappella apparently was his real name. So good, Drew.
Aaron, it sounds like you're a pretty good priest. You just says that you could take the parts that you like and ignore the parts you don't, which I think fundamentally is like
the Bible.
The only way it works. Yeah. The Bible, just the Bible.
The Bible's like that. You just take it. We can't take all of it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, and this is what's without going too deep. So how does it work? I mean, I loved hearing how Fox News was upset that the Pope, he spoke on his like first speech, he spoke like Italian, Latin, and Spanish. Yeah. And how Peru is celebrating it more than America is.
Well, he lived in Peru for 20 years.
You're right. I think
my dad was really happy. Yeah, he's in America. He's from Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's in. Zach's in.
Okay.
We'll have better look.
I gotta scoot over. My camera's.
Yeah, you gotta send to yourself.
I hope you have more stable internet access than Dave.
Oh, I hope so. You guys hear me right?
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition. Yes. Speaking of which, welcome. Hey, so
Spanish Inquisition here, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No one expects it.
What's going on, guys?
Yeah, good to see you, man. So it sounds like so you know a lot about what happened with Dave with Drew, right?
So I lost contact with him a while back because I mean I wouldn't say it was a falling out, but I mean he just there was just a few different things that kind of happened, and I think during COVID people had their own goings on and everything like that. But before Corona happened, we collaborated quite frequently, and I think the biggest thing that we did was we collaborated on a YouTube video, and this was kind of a me, Ronan, Dave, and Drew. I'm trying to pull up the link here. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah.
But we went to Yanaka. I think it's called Yanaka Ginza.
Oh, Yanaka
or
Ginza.
something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. We did
I know
a
the
video
neighborhood.
about the history of Yanaka Ginza, and we went to a brewery that was over there together. I'm going to put this in the studio here. Should I put this in the chat?
Put it in the
Actually, I
private chat, and I'll
probably
put it. I'll copy it into the regular chat.
Okay,
So-
awesome. Because I actually exited the stream. Sorry, I didn't want
that's
to
cool.
latency problems. But yeah, I mean, before that, like he was also a huge supporter of the like the YouTube Hanami, of course, and
Right, of course.
like
I think
some,
that's where I
the
met him
meetup
a
events.
couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, say what you will about his content, and say what you will about how he may or may not have addressed things, or some of the rumor. I don't believe a lot of the rumors because it's people like Dave said about
Rumors. I don't know any
JCJ.
rumors.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's still rumors. It's just nonsense. At the end of the day, he really cared about the community. He really cared about, he was a huge family man. He absolutely loved his family. So, it's a tragic loss to die at that age. I mean, he's younger than both of my parents. So, he's got 3 kids. I think it was 3 or
Really?
like that.
He got 3 kids? I thought he only had 1.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're young. They lost their dad when he was, when they were young. So I mean, no one should have to bury their parents like that. That's just tragic.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
By the way, since you're here, and since I only just heard a little bit, did you get the circle jerk thing taken down?
No. Okay. So there's a longer story about that, but
that's a long story.
Like, I don't know when I started doing this, but I really just like the last few years I've been avoiding drama as much as I could. Like me in the past, like I would like heat it up and try
did you
to
get like a brain
participate in it, right?
transplant, or did you go on one of
I
those
think
machines
I
like in the
did.
movies where you started avoiding drama? It's like backwards.
My realization was that staying out of drama and being non-confrontational and just being a likable person translates to better success for me personally. That was my realization.
Well, congratulations on I believe there's a stage of maturity where that
I graduated.
Yeah.
And sorry, I'm pulling up the chat on my phone here. So what ended up happening was this guy that I knew, I mean, I was friends with him at the time. I mean, he would occasionally be like on JCJ for whatever reason. I never go on Reddit. Like the only time I would go on Reddit is to find bootleg streams for American football games. But like he basically found out where one of the mods for JCJ worked and like reported all the stuff that he was saying on JCJ to his employer. Yeah.
Okay. So that's.
Yeah.
I mean,
at the time, I thought that was. Well, what ended up happening was one of the like.
You know what? Time out.
Yeah.
You guys should explain what Japan Circle Jerk is, because I think a lot of people have no idea how bad this group was.
If you're not familiar with JCJ, it was like a Reddit. What is it called? Like a subreddit? Is that what those are called?
Yeah.
I'm not with the kids
Subreddit
anymore.
Yeah.
It was a subreddit where they just kind of bullshit around and talked about like people who are in Japan. Just they talked a lot of shit. They spawned a lot of drama. It was the height of ridiculousness, honestly.
So they hated Tokyo.
Gaijin
They hate
internet.
Tokyo Sam. They hated Canada Jin.
I mean, I've been on there a few times too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually made a video.
It sounds like a badge of honor in a way. Yeah.
No, I got on there one day and I went through the video. In my video, I just went through and just responded to all their stupid comments and kind of laughed at it. And it actually did pretty well, the video.
They hated everybody, like the Red Value says. They hated pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
And like what ended up happening, like I said, so back in 2021, I was dating this girl and her Facebook account was private. I want to make sure you guys understand. She had a private Facebook account. She had maybe 300 friends. It was just people that we all knew, right? And
that's a lot of friends.
Well, yeah, but that's the key thing. She posted a picture of me and a couple of other people like on the Yokosuka line. We were coming back from a friend's barbecue on the base, right? And it was literally just us in the train, and it was dumb. My friend was like holding on the bars like he was doing pull-ups, right? And they posted that, and then the video that the vlog I made from that trip to the for the barbecue, they posted that onto the Reddit, and like out of nowhere, my freaking video blew up. I was like, "What the hell?" And
Yeah.
the reason why my friends were freaked out for for a very good reason was because, like I said, my girl that I was dating at the time, her thing was completely private. So somebody that she knew was on that forum, and I think that's where the guy yeah. Huh?
Oh, I see. I get it now. Yeah, I see the
Yeah,
connection.
I don't know who it was personally. I mean, I forgot who it was in all honesty, but like, somebody like basically from that, like the guy I used to hang out with, basically, you know, it was forensic evidence, the whole thing, and ended up getting him in trouble. Then got the freaking thing off of Reddit, and then
Yeah, which is
they
impressive.
moved to Discord, and then that, yeah, I mean, it was all him, and I was impressed at the time, but I stopped talking with him last year. Just another thing is just I wanted to do my own thing. He wanted to do his own thing. It's whatever.
Yeah. Okay. I was actually I saw a survey of tourists last week that for the first time ever, the majority of tourists have nothing bad to say about Japan. To which my comment was, how can these tourists ever become expats in Japan if they don't know how to like complain and trash talk everything, which is what this place pretty much was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just realized this kind of switched from a memorial for Drew into one for the circle jerk.
Memorial for that. Yeah. Rest in peace, right?
Well, thank you for I know that you didn't do it, but thank you for your service nonetheless.
I'm proud to do my part.
Hey, real quickly, while we got here and we're talking about the community real quick, how was it Hanami this year?
Oh yeah,
it was good. It's less people than we've had in the past. It's not like people aren't YouTubers anymore, right? People are, multimedia nowadays, which that's fine. I mean, that's what I am now too. So we had a few YouTubers show up, but like a lot of people there were just like, one of my friends, she's an influencer like on Instagram with like 50,000 followers on Instagram. She brought a ton of people from promoting it on her side. So, I mean, it ended up being a success, even though it was on a Sunday and I was absolutely dead on Monday, but Shogunai, right?
You had to cancel it. You had to cancel the Saturday because it was raining, right?
Yeah, it was really bad rain too.
Yeah, I got to get back out there, man. I haven't been in Tokyo for a while. I need a good experience.
Yeah, let me know. Hit me up, man. I mean, I'm down here in Kanagawa now, so if you
really
want to hang out at the beach,
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
We're good to see you, Zach.
Well, thanks for joining. I'm going to go back to the regularly scheduled program, but actually that was some stuff I didn't know, so I appreciate the insights. Both
thanks for having me on, guys.
And
appreciate
everything
it.
else. So, yeah.
Good to see you, man.
So Victor,
I'm glad you got rid of that guy. Jesus Christ, I can't stand him. I'm just kidding, Zach. I'm just kidding. Hey,
I was going to bring you back.
So I got a lot of stuff to talk to you about. Okay, first of all, I'm trying to get my wife into my wife. She's not working now. She's
no,
but she's happy.
Well, there was just an opening for the Pope. Sorry.
Oh, you know what? Let's talk about the Pope real quick.
People are asking about the Pope. They want to hear. They want to hear our take on the Pope. I don't really have.
I'm happy. He seems like a down to earth guy. He doesn't like Trump and JD Vance.
Or Vance, yeah.
So I think that's great. I'm curious to see how their first meeting is going to go. I'm sure he will have no influence over the presidency, even though he'll meet them. But because Trump doesn't listen to anyone, and that's just ridiculous. What's happening over there? But we got another 3.5 years, or 3 years and 9 months left before that's over. Happy Mother's Day, by the way.
Oh yes, all the mothers out there, and all the mother lovers. Yeah,
mother lovers. But about the Pope, I don't think there's much to say except he seems like a real down to earth guy. I think Americans are happy because he's American, because Americans like America #1 because we're like that kind of,
USA.
Yeah.
Well, that's all. It reduces the odds that he was in the Hitler Youth, which has been an issue in recent conclaves.
Oh, I had to tell you, I went to a rodeo show when I was in America last year with my kids.
Okay. Yeah.
And for the first time, we were in a rodeo, and they opened up with a prayer.
Yeah.
Okay. And the guy says, we accept every kind of religion, but my master is Jesus Christ. And of course, USA. And then everyone in the whole auditorium, or whatever you call that place. I don't think it's called an auditorium, but everyone in the rodeo started chanting USA, USA, and it scared my wife, and my brother was there too with his wife. His wife's Japanese too.
Yeah.
They were both kind of freaked out. And my kids were yelling USB, USB. They thought it was fun. They were like USB. USB.
I remember Jet Daisuke did that once on a video thing, and I lost it. I love that your kids spontaneously came up with that. Yeah.
Oh, he did that.
Man,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think my grandfather left Eastern Europe over something like that. So yeah, that's pretty.
But it scares Japanese people who have never seen that kind of fervor, and that's what America's like. I mean,
I can tell you, as a New Zealander, it scares us as well. We think that the quasi-religious patriotism in America is kind of freaky.
Are there any countries that do that? Does anyone help me out here? Is there any countries that?
Yeah, North Korea. Turkmenistan, they're really big on that sort of thing. All the any country that looks a bit like a cult pretty much just does all the same stuff.
I don't think Russia is like that.
I don't think Russia
but
Russia is.
I think Russia loves them. I think they love their country, but they don't act like that.
Yeah, there are patriots and all that sort of stuff, but it's not like the whole society. I mean, Russians are basically cynical people. Americans are optimists. So no, you're right. I don't think.
But I'm pretty sure they think they're superior to all Americans. Just Russians are infamous for being like, we're Russian. You're pussies. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think America just talked them up as a bad guy during the Cold War, but
But apparently,
America's special.
Yeah, it's kind of sick. Yeah, a little bit. But at the same time, I kind of feel like Japan should have a little bit of that. Japan has none of it.
Well, the last time Japan has had that, and it didn't go well, right?
Yeah,
I think that's why Japanese are uncomfortable, actually. So yeah, I don't know. Just a theory.
Right, yeah.
Just a theory. But yeah.
Quint Rankin says, I watch a couple of Russian channels and they are not happy. Okay.
Yeah, it's not the stereotype.
All right. Well, I got a couple things for you that I thought was funny. So today I tried to get my wife to jump. I was watching some.
Wait, she didn't have a job, so you tried to make her jump?
Well, yeah, let me slow down. She has no job. I belong to a gym. She can come to my gym for free because I have all the. My gym has this credit system. Like the more times you go, you get
point system. Yeah.
Point system, and then you can give those points to somebody. So I basically got 35 points. So my wife could come 35 times for free because I've been going for over a year now.
Wow, there's a quote you could take out of context. Your wife could come 35 times for free. Sorry.
I used to have to pay. But I was watching, I came across some TED Talk thing, and there's this woman's like, I want you to lift, put down those pink little dumbbells, and I want you to lift heavy. And she started talking about jumping. And I'd heard this before. Maybe you've heard this before. It's good for your bones to just jump as high as you can 20 times a day.
Yeah.
Ever heard this before?
I think I've heard something like that. Yeah.
So it's good to shock your bones. As you shock your bones, you make them stronger and less brittle. Okay. Like that. As you get older, that's important. And everyone's getting older, so why not? So I said that to her today. Yeah. So she's she jumped, and I swear to God, her feet came this far off the ground. Okay. Yeah. So I started laughing. She goes, "You do it," and I just gotten out of the shower and I was wearing a towel. Yeah. That's all. And I jumped, and my son said, "That's no fair, Dad. Your penis is giving you momentum." And she said, "Yeah, you're not fair. You have a penis, and it's helping you grow up." So I thought I had to share that with you. I thought that was the funniest thing. My son's been studying a little bit of science, so.
Sounds like it. It sounds like it. He's gonna. I don't know which exam that will come up.
And I can. And
he's ready for it.
That's of course that's a subtle brag there. As to my size, but anyway.
That T-shirt as well, very subtle.
So I did a live show about 2 hours or 3 hours ago to talk about this show, to play this up. How are we doing, by the way? How many viewers we have right now?
We have 40 viewers right now.
Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so by you viewers, we would appreciate a thumbs up for Hiko Simon.
Yeah.
Maybe spread this out a little bit more. Ooh, 43 people watching now. And I got a couple questions that I said I would ask you.
Okay.
The first question, and I forgot her name. Oh my God, what was her name? Oh shit! And she's sleeping now. She's not in the things. I should have written her name. Very friendly woman. She said, she asked us, how can you successfully integrate into Japanese society? That was her question.
Act like a tourist. I don't know. Really? Okay, so she wants our opinion on how to successfully integrate into Japanese society.
My gut reaction was, forget it. It's never going to happen. Forget it. But there are different levels of integration, of course.
Yeah.
So that's my question for you. How integrated do you feel? I mean, you speak Japanese every day at your job, right?
I mean, yeah. I think what you learn when you get to your late 30s is that it doesn't matter, and this is like a graph, that you care less and less what other people think as you get older. But there's a point where I think until your early 30s, you really care about what everyone thinks. And you really worry, when I go to Japan, are they going to think I'm Japanese? Or I might try really hard, but they might not accept me.
Right.
And the realization you come to is not a matter of whether, people who don't know you and what they think about you doesn't matter. And it takes a while to grow comfortable enough in your own skin, to not give a shit. So acceptance. The only thing that matters is what the people who know you think. And if those people, I mean, you don't even have to speak Japanese. If you say you teach English at an English school, and the people you see every day, the Japanese, office secretary and the people there, if they know you by who you are and what sort of person you are, and you have a life in Japan, the person at the convenience store recognizes you or whatever, you're integrated, right? Like
on some level, yeah, of course.
Yeah. It's like, do you want to be accepted sight unseen by every Japanese person? If that's your goal, well, that's probably not going to happen if you don't look Japanese. I mean, even some Japanese people don't ever reach that level, right? They don't look Japanese,
and some Japanese people are completely hikomoris, they're completely not part of society.
That's right. They never integrate into society at all. So in the end of the day, all that matters is what sort of life do you have, and do the people in your life accept you? And if not, is it your fault? Is it anything you can change? If it's for a reason that you can't change, it doesn't matter anyway, right? If it's for something you can change, you can work on it. So yeah, you can do things to increase your ability to have friends and your scope of enjoyment. The more you speak Japanese, the more you can do in Japan.
Yes, that would be my biggest suggestion. Would be, even if you're right, and on some level you can be accepted even if you don't speak Japanese. But I think speaking Japanese opens so many doors. Yeah.
It opens doors, but there again, I learned Japanese hoping as a young 20-year-old, whatever, that if I learn Japanese, everyone will accept me. And that halfway along the line, I realized that's never the goal. The people on the Yamanote line who see me and don't know me, they might think I'm a tourist. And who gives a shit if they think I'm a tourist? Yeah. I look like a tourist. Sometimes I'm comfortable playing the tourist myself. What matters is the people that I work with and, that I see every day. And hey, if those people accept you, but sure, that's right. You'll always do, the more that you make an effort to show understanding, the more you listen to people and the more you show an appreciation of how people feel and what they think, the more they'll reciprocate and accept you. But that's the same whether you're in Japan or anywhere else, honestly.
Did you see the Armed Forces of Organized Crime?
The Armed Forces.
Yeah, can you click on that one? Yeah.
Just because you can speak Japanese, it doesn't mean you are Japanese.
And that's fine. That's not a problem. But here, I get a lot of these comments, and I think they feel like it's an insult of some sort, or I think they feel like they're saying something really deep. And I don't know what his intent between the Armed Forces guy is, but a lot of people they're almost like wake up and smell the coffee. You're never going to be Japanese, but of course not. That's not really what we're trying to say here.
Yeah, it's not really the goal. You realize halfway along the line, it's not the goal. Yeah. The goal, and being accepted by strangers isn't the goal either, even though it is in the beginning. When you're an insecure person, you worry about everybody accepting you, people that you don't know and what they think. And you stop giving a shit, honestly. And that's where it's like, but sure, if the people who know you think that you're an asshole, you should do something about that. So yeah, you're always going to improve your chances of having friends and doing more and having a better quality of life here. The more you learn the culture and the more you learn the language and all that sort of stuff. It's hard
I completely agree with you. Your suggestion is just don't care, right? But it's hard for people not to care.
Of course. Well, it's a default. It's your body's default. And I think we're all wired to do it, right? That's how we grow as, from children into adults. We grow by observing and, by copying and we don't really have a proper identity, right? When we graduate university, we're desperate to have like a mature adult identity that we don't have. So we always worry about what other people think of us. And we always assert, oh, I'm this type of a guy. because we want to, what we want to be. But in the end of the day, you just are who you are, right? And the people who you know. I mean, I don't really think very consciously. I work with Americans. I work with a German. I work with Japanese. I don't think of them as the German, the American, whatever. I think of them by who
Not
they
even
are.
the American?
No, not even the American. I just think of them by their names, and they're great people. And I think they think the same about me. And they'll speak with me in Japanese or they'll speak with me in English. But
I don't think of you as a New Zealander.
Yeah, well, when it's a reductive term, right? Yeah. Me thinking of you as American is reductive. It denies your entire personality, right? I mean, unless you are absolutely the most American stereotype of a person ever. So, Zach, I might call an American, but you, I would call Victor. I'm making fun of Zach.
Zach's into American football. Yeah.
Yeah, that if someone was like Captain America to me, I might, even then I probably wouldn't. I'd probably say that person. So that's my take.
Well, Dan H had a question. I don't know if you said, but how do you integrate into America or New Zealand or Peru?
Yeah,
I think it's the same. I think you know what? You don't integrate into society. You just feel more comfortable in your own body.
Yeah, you get a job, you make a life, you make friends. Yeah. I think it's the same anywhere. Sure, it's true that when you're in a society like New Zealand where there are so many immigrants, it's a thing.
Oh,
like
really?
when you,
I didn't know that. There's a lot of immigrants. Huh?
A lot of people leave the country and they get replaced by a lot of immigrants. So there's a lot of people who are like first generation in New Zealand, and I think that
will not replace us.
Well, yeah, we are looking for replacements all over the place.
Hey, do you have a right wing party? I'm assuming you do. Yeah.
Of course, but our right wing is basically, if you put it over in America, even our far right still believes in free healthcare and all that stuff. So, it's, to us, America's just off the, even America's Democrats are to the far right of our far right,
Wow. Really?
But,
wow, that's crazy.
But there's a thing, like when I went to Seattle, there's a thing that how hard it is to get to know Seattle people, but there's so many out of towners in Seattle, like working in tech and all that sort of stuff. And there's heaps of like ways to get to make friends, other out of town friends. So there's places like this. There's cities with lots of expats and stuff like that, and even Japan Circle Jerk, right? I mean, they're a community, and they're all like-minded people who get together.
Right.
So I don't know. Some places like Japan, it can be harder. You're in a country town. There's not many places unless you try to integrate locally. Unless you try to, it's really hard, right, to get into those things. Whereas, sure, when there's communities already here, you can integrate pretty easily. But I chose to not go the easy route and just integrate with other expats. I chose to go for to make Japanese friends, and that was harder. But, you can do it any way that you want. And I don't think that an English teacher who's been here for 20 years is any less a resident here than I am just because they do it differently. I used to think that. I used to invest that I'm more integrated and I'm the better person because I learn Japanese.
I think a lot of people do. Oh man, so many people I met in the beginning who would judge you depending on your Japanese level. Like literally how many kanji you do. It's like ridiculous.
I mean, yeah.
I know a guy here in Nagoya whose
competitive.
Japanese is beautiful, but he cannot read. But if you listen to him, you would think he's the most educated speaker ever.
A lot of guys like
Japanese is flawless, but he cannot read any Japanese. But his Japanese is intelligent. I don't know how he does it.
People who came over, you get a lot of guys who like never studied at university and they came over here and they just did like construction jobs and stuff like that and got a wife, and they're the most fluent people ever. And you're right, and they've got no like grammatical or kanji or anything.
I'm not talking about just colloquial. I mean, this guy can talk about any subject at all. I mean, political stuff that I don't really dwell too much into politics or Keizai or the Seijin of Hanashi wa we got a troll in the comments here. Dan H says Victor is very American. That's the most hurtful thing anyone's ever said to me.
USA.
Actually, I identify as an American, but I don't. I think America is gone. I don't think the America that I grew up in exists anymore, and I don't think it's coming back. I think it's gone. Yeah, and I'm not. I've never been one of those America USA kind of guys. So I think there are a lot of people much more American than I am, and I never cared about American football or. So I did watch baseball because my dad was into it for a little while. But, and we lived in Boston, so Boston Red Sox was our team. But besides that, no.
I assume being picked up in bars. I
learned at bars.
Yeah. Oh. I think I learned a fair amount of Japanese at bars. That was part of my evolution here. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's one question I had for you, and I think I have to agree with you. Basically, you just got to learn to enjoy your own skin and not care what other people think so much.
In terms of integration, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? This is I usually go to bed at 9 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah, and I wake up at 4. I wake up at 4.
That
I'm
also sounds like a New Zealander.
So this is way past my bedtime, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I
appreciate you staying up. What
No,
are the
no,
other
it's good.
questions?
Okay, here's another one. Someone accused me of being a pothead back in the States, which would have been a long time ago. And I said, no, I never really liked marijuana. I thought it's kind of it kind of takes over your whole life. Because from my personal experience, I've seen some people who that's done that too.
Yeah.
And then they got into the whole alcohol versus marijuana debate. And I thought I promised I would ask you if you had any opinion about that.
Me? Okay. Oh, when I was
Yeah, and age, America. I'm a Marvel fan. I'm a comic book nerd. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. But you got 5 books out of that, so good for you.
Yeah. Yep. I'll take it. Thank you, Dan H. I was always like in New Zealand. So New Zealand during the 90s went anti-smoking before Japan did, and it was really hardcore.
Oh,
like
really?
There was like 200% tax on cigarettes and everything, and there were lots of TV ads on how it'll give you cancer. And the anti-smoking ads were so strong that people in my class at school, like everybody thought that weed was better for you than cigarettes. And they would like, because people...
I've heard that before too.
It's like common knowledge. Well, it's not addictive like cigarettes are. So it's actually, it actually has some health benefits, and people with glaucoma have it, which is true. But if you're smoking unfiltered smoke, you're still going to get, lung cancer, those sort of dangers, apart from... And the fact that, you just look at people who smoke too much weed, and, they obviously, even in moderation is okay. I can accept that. And it's something, and, people don't get aggressive and fight and shit, but people who do too much of the stuff. Yeah. I've seen people who clearly have done something and it's clearly affecting their brain functions.
Yeah.
So like, so it was the thing where I would meet people who, I think the term in America is California sober, right? They don't drink or smoke, but they smoke weed. Yeah.
I'm just responding to the comments about.
Yeah.
He's Canadian, by the way. Wolverine is not American. He's Canadian.
Wolverine, I thought he was Australian. Like Hugh Jackman's Australian.
Oh, yes, Hugh Jackman's Australian.
Yeah. But yeah.
So in New Zealand, is marijuana legal?
No, they did a couple of referendums to legalize it, and like California, they surprisingly did not legalize it under referendum, which is surprising because way more people smoked weed than smoked cigarettes that were my age when I was at school. And when I would turn down weed, I'd immediately get asked if I was a cop because it was so weird to not smoke. It's like going to Spain and not smoking in Spain, not smoking weed in New Zealand. So at least when I left, I mean, the whole country is just basically a weed plantation. It's like California. So I've got no problem with it per se. What I did have a problem with in New Zealand, you go to a party and the whole thing is weed, right? But
wow.
But nowhere else, not around in the street, not in, like it was in set places. But when I was in Seattle and I'm staying in apartment buildings or you're walking around,
right?
I got really like when the smell was everywhere. It's not a nice smell to have everywhere at all times of day, right? I associate it with the smell of being at parties, and I don't mind that.
Right.
But having it all over your clothes and shit when you're just trying to be at home and brush your teeth and have a normal day, that kind of pissed me off. So I kind of became a bit more anti-weed being in a place that had too much of it. But I don't give a shit. I don't do it myself, but I don't give a shit about other people doing it. I agree. It's probably not as bad as alcohol. Probably should be legal and taxed, but not interested myself.
Well, if you study like crime rates, alcohol takes more of a. Of
course.
It's more if more people to commit crime drunk than they do high. People who are high just are like eating pizza.
1,000,000%. I mean, New Zealand is like, you give 100 people shandy gaffs, and you need the riot police within 5 minutes. It's people are bad on alcohol. People get angry and start fighting and doing shit. Which amazed me when I got to Japan that you have the Hanami, 100,000 people in Yogi Park and not a single fight. Like,
we have fights in Nagoya.
I've heard this. I've heard that in Osaka and Nagoya you guys have fights. I've never seen a fight. Yeah. I have not seen a single fight in Tokyo.
Really?
Yeah. Which that many drunk people and no fights? Japanese are funny.
Have you ever seen a fight at all in the street? Nothing? You've never seen any violence?
I must have seen something. You know what? I've had friends who have knocked people out in clubs.
In clubs?
Which is not good. Bar fight situations not many, but I've seen it. But you know what? Just seeing random violence somewhere. No, like you, like walking past and seeing the guy kicking his girlfriend and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've even put it on video. I've been.
I know. I saw.
Like,
Yeah, it's a great video.
I was here 2 weeks, and some guy's beating up his girlfriend inside my apartment. I go out in my pajamas and try to stop that. I speak no Japanese except yada. I say yada yada yada.
Yada, yada.
And that was the first time. And then that one time I'm with my wife, and this guy's kicking his girlfriend. I go stop that, and then she jumps on my back.
Yeah.
And another guy, some guy is beating up his girlfriend, but they're both tiny. So I just pick him up, and I hold him up, and I'm drunk, and I try to punch him, but I miss because I'm drunk. But then I say to her, do you want
again?
Yeah, do you want me to let him go, or do you want to grab a taxi? And she grabs a taxi and she leaves. And when she leaves, I let him go. But that was it.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with my life that I don't have experiences like this. I must be doing something wrong.
And Hanami, all the time. Yeah, anytime. People fighting all the time. Yeah.
But like, okay, you've come to Tokyo Hanami, right? You've been to Yogi Park. Do you ever see a fight there? Am I just missing them?
No, I've
never seen one.
No, you're right.
Yeah, I think it must be a Nagoya thing. I don't know.
Oh, well, anyway.
I mean, yeah. So
what did you think of?
But,
what would you? This is a hypothetical, but I heard about you saw Sigma Boy.
Who's Sigma Boy?
The guy who plays the big speaker on the subway and then makes noise.
Yes,
and he does
dickhead.
a backslide.
Yes.
Yeah. So apparently he's German. Apparently he's German. Yeah.
I don't think of Germans as being dickheads like that. That's disappointing.
But he had a kind of a lifeless look in his eye. If you watch his videos, he's like, no, not even like that. Looks like he just has no. I can't even do it.
Yeah. I remember he does this sort of nonchalant thing. Like, I get it.
Weird. It's weird. Anyway, but I checked his page, and apparently he travels the world doing this. He's been to Paris and all these other. But he lives in Germany, so that's not so far away. It's right next door, right?
Yeah.
So he does this everywhere, apparently. And now there's a Sigma girl, but. Chris Broad, apparently, I heard, I haven't seen his video, but he apparently did a live stream, and he said if he found him, if he caught him,
to jail.
He would do something. I'm the one who said I would go to jail, but
you said yeah.
But people saw my live stream, and they told me about that, and they said we don't believe him, but we believe you.
It's different when it comes from someone from Nagoya. Yeah, you're right.
But my question for you is, what would you do if you saw him? I mean, literally, you wouldn't attack him, of course. It's stupid to physically attack the guy, but
yeah, over being obnoxious like that. Yeah. I'm not sure I'd confront him. I just thinking myself. So when I was hiking in America, you go on these hikes near Seattle, and there are people who go hiking with carrying speakers on their backs, playing loud, obnoxious fucking music while they hike.
Wow, that's crazy.
I would talk absolute shit about them, as soon as they've gone past. But am I going to start a fight with them in the forest over the fact they're carrying a speaker around, and scaring away the animals? Not really. I mean, they're probably, I'm just going to hope it attracts bears or something. But in a subway, if I saw a guy like that, I don't think that's quite a come up and physically attack the guy kind of a thing, although it is a dick move. And I think it is something that, you could, if I was in Japan circle jerk, I'd be saying, Gyomubogai. Deport immediately, but I was not in that. I can imagine angry internet comments about that, but real life, would I really confront a person over a loudspeaker?
If I could control myself, I would turn off his speaker and grab it and just hold on to it until maybe some staff came, or enough to damper it to ruin his time.
The lawyer brain in me says that the moment you start putting hands on his equipment and stuff like that, or the moment you get into physical contact and anger, you start getting into a gray zone that you probably want to be careful about. You can get away with it.
That's the line. I think I could, if I just touch his equipment, turn it off and hold on to it. I mean, as soon as I have it, I can say, this is mine. He's stealing my equipment.
Okay, if you knew it was him, and you knew this was a thing, and he pisses people off on purpose, right, I might do something about that. But if it's just some random tourist or whatever, just a dickhead, I might have a word, but I don't think I've ever called out a tourist being obnoxious before, even when I've seen it. I mean, I haven't seen people acting like that before. So I'm keeping it real. I don't think I'd say anything, but I wish I would. I wish I was like you and I'd confront the guy. But yeah, I always think of the consequences too quickly.
Well, yeah, I'm stupid that way. So yeah.
It's a good, it's a good quality.
No, it's going to
be illegal.
I'm better than I used to be. I am more in control. Sadly, if nobody sees it like that. But that was another question. Here's a heavy one for you. Oh, a couple things. By the way, it's Mother's Day.
Oh,
So I have
Word to the mothers. Yeah.
if you're a mother in the comment section, happy Mother's Day. And if you've had sex with a mother, then happy Mother's Day to you. That's always a nice thing to do to your mother. Not your mother, but somebody's mother.
Oh no.
Okay,
I'm sure the words we come out a different way there.
Here's something that I saw. Speaking of Mother's Day, though, this is what
you've been watching too many American sites.
Let me segue into this. Did you hear that they're giving rice away for Mother's Day?
Well,
At the
it's
store
better than
now,
giving mothers away. Oh,
no,
yes.
they're selling little
They're giving rice away.
Little Mother's Day packs that are this big, and they're especially for Mother's Day. So you're supposed to give your mother a little bag of rice.
Is that a thing? Is this like the new? Is this like the new Valentine's Day?
Yeah, because rice is so expensive now in Japan. Like giving mothers rice is.
I can't afford that. I'm just going to get diamonds or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know that rice is really expensive right now in Japan, and the government's trying to subsidize it and bring it down. But apparently, it's not reaching the people who need it.
The distributors are deliberately like hoarding it to drive the prices up. So, you know, and the distributors are distributors that are contracted by the government to distribute the rice, but they don't, they're not doing it like, they buy the rice wholesale and then they get to do whatever they like with it, but they buy it from the government. So the government has all these like warehouses stocked full of rice, and there's enough rice. But, yeah, these distributors are deliberately causing the shortages and the price increases. It's exactly like butter. Yeah.
I got a heavy one for you. This is from a guy named Victor, actually, but not me. He's, I think, divorced from his wife. She's Japanese. He's a foreigner.
Yeah.
And he claims that his wife has kidnapped his daughter.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And he can't. What is that?
It's my butter.
What actually is it? Is it keychain?
It's like a Christmas decoration, but people are familiar with my sensitivity over agricultural production.
Okay.
Of foodstuffs in Japan, particularly this because we had shortages years ago. But yeah. Okay. So anyway, divorced, kidnapped kids.
Yeah, and he can't see his daughter, and he thinks he wants to do a video about it. I advise him not to, because if he has any chance of seeing his daughter, then I think making a video will reduce those chances. We don't really have any details on this guy.
Yeah.
What's going on, but. You remind me there was an international Hague summit or something,
that's right. All the Hague Convention on Parental Aspects of International Child Abduction. That's I did a court debating competition based on a fake case made up about that specific convention when I was at law school. Yeah.
And here's something that I don't have the specifics on, but I thought you might know. So Japan does not currently recognize dual custody, but they will recognize it next year. So it's been passed, but it will go into effect next year in 2026.
It's complicated.
Yeah. What do you know about that? Yeah.
So there's a couple of aspects here. I'll try to keep this short and relatively interesting. So yeah, the whole idea is that, you know, if you're in America and you've got a custody thing that says you've got sole custody of the kid, and I'm in Japan and I've got a thing that says I've got sole custody of the kid, then whoever takes the kid to the other country wins in that case, right?
Ooh.
And so, you know, it becomes the courts are then incentivizing you to kidnap your own children and take them away from the other jurisdiction. The only thing is that in America and most countries, because of this problem where people try to forum shop, they try to take their kids to a country where they'll get a favorable ruling, and it incentivizes kidnapping. All the countries agreed that they would treat that as criminal kidnapping, and they would arrest the parent and send the child back if that ever happened.
Is that the Hague thing, the Hague Convention?
So the Hague Convention includes that, but it goes a little bit further. It also says that all the countries will recognize each other's family courts. So if there's an order in America already existing saying that you get the kid and I bring the kid back to Japan, under the Hague Convention, the Japanese court will enforce the American order, not create a new contradicting Japan one. Japan didn't join the treaty until like 2016, which meant that you had the situation where Japanese people would just take their kids back to Japan and get the kid. And that led to a lot of cases, you know, of these international marriages of Japanese married abroad would just, if they could get the kid back to Japan, they get to keep them. It's not retroactive, but so this came in after 2016. So now Japan is supposed to recognize foreign court orders, but But Japan doesn't really have enforced child custody like America and other countries have. So it kind of doesn't really work. And when the court orders to allow access and joint custody, Japan doesn't have joint custody, and there's no way of enforcing to make sure that you have it. So this is another gap. Even though Japan supposedly recognizes and enforces the orders of the courts in America, it's got no way of doing it. So it's partly because of that, and partly because, you know, in Japan there's recognition that joint, alienating a kid from one of their parents. Until now, it's always thought in Japanese culture, when you divorce, it's too confusing for the kid to be able to see both of their parents when they're divorced. And so the parental alienation syndrome is the policy of the Japanese government, or it has been. And it's only been with this new amendment that they recognize from next year that if the parents amicably and voluntarily agree between them to have joint custody, then they can agree to do that from next year. But in terms of like going to a court and saying who gets the kid and no, you have to share it, I don't think it's at that level yet. So they're getting to a stage where there'll be some kind of, so for all of these people who have acrimonious divorces and they're in international marriages, there still isn't a lot to really help you, especially if you get divorced in Japan. You're kind of screwed. What's changed is Japanese who would get married and live overseas, and then when they divorce, they take the kid back to Japan and hide them, literally kidnapping them. There's better mechanisms for that now when there used to be nothing. Japanese government basically used to incentivize that. But even with the joint custody thing, it sort of is improving by baby steps, but you've got to be getting along well enough with your spouse that you'll both agree to have joint custody for it to happen. So it's now the concept exists, but it still isn't like overseas. So this is where
there's no infrastructure for it, really.
Yeah, there's no courts, there's no bailiffs who'll come and pick you up. There's no criminalization of violating a child custody order. So
no bailiff.
It's the thing, if you're marrying a Japanese and you have kids, you're either in it for the whole thing, or if you can't take it and you want a divorce, you have to realize that you'll be divorcing your children in most cases, as well as the other person.
Sometimes my kids are so annoying, I consider it.
Yeah, well, then
like,
you might. Then the penalty might be you might get the sole custody. That could be the punishment.
Please kidnap them. No. Here's something interesting you might find. I was taking my kids. I said because my wife, when she had a job, she'd have limited vacation. I'd often be traveling with the kids alone.
Yeah.
And last time this happened a couple visits. I don't remember when, but a couple trips ago, I was taking my kids down the street to get on the train. We live really close to a major train station. And on the way, police stopped me, and they asked my kids, like, "Who is this guy? Is he your father?"
Yeah.
Right? And they kind of took me aside. One of them told me busy, and the other one's questioned them. You can tell me the truth. Do you want to go with him? Is he okay? And they're like, "Yeah, that's my dad." Yeah, and then when we got to Tokyo, because we'll do like an 8-hour layover in Tokyo, which is fun for us because then we'll go into the city and look around. And when it was time to get on the plane to go to America, they called my wife.
Yeah.
They would not let us on the plane until my wife verified on the phone, that it's okay, and I was taking the kids, and it's okay, and I'm not kidnapping them back. It was really bizarre.
You know what? If you lived in America, that's pretty common, apparently, particularly, and again, as you'd expect, not when the mum does it, but when the dad takes kids on an international flight, sometimes they'll actually require you to carry a letter showing that your spouse consents. Even in America, places like that, because again, in America, they actually will criminalize and arrest you for taking kids in violation of a joint custody order, right? In Japan, it's actually more rare, but I've heard of fathers being questioned doing that. I've never had that. I've taken my son on plenty of trips, just him, and it's never come up.
Hey, Aaron is trolling me right now. Aaron, you see her comment?
Victor, just naturally looking shady.
Come on. With this t-shirt, Alex.
Max Wren asking, are there any rules preventing a spouse living abroad taking the kids back to Japan? There were not until about 2017. That's what this convention was. So under this convention now, the kids would have to be sent back. But there again, even though they're supposed to do it, the courts don't always actually do it. So now there is a framework to stop that happening, but that didn't exist until very recently. So that's a heavy one. Yeah.
So this guy, whose name is also Victor, is asking me about this, and I don't think there's much I can say about this except just
family
stay
law,
away.
Japan. Yeah, getting married in Japan. Do your research. But this is where if you want to be around your kids, it's there's some pretty hard choices if the marriage doesn't go well.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think. So a couple videos ago, I did a video called "Divorce in Japan," and I'm on the bicycle. And
I saw that. Yeah.
So
the kids. You didn't know whether to tell your kids about it or not. Yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
that.
So my kid's friend is getting divorced. My kid's friend's parents are getting divorced. She cheated on the husband. The husband's a drunk. And today's the last. Tomorrow they leave on Tuesday. Right, they leave on Tuesday, and I want my son to go visit the kid and say goodbye because that's one of his best friends.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, we should just kind of stay away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, maybe I'll take him. We'll see. But I was shocked that she's willing to give up the kids, and she's letting him take the kids away to his country.
Well, that happens. I mean, it's it happens. I know cases like that, where and often when you get a wife who feels like they've been doing all the work raising the kids, and they'll say you take him, whatever. Some people I've heard multiple cases like that of Japanese people as well, where the wife sort of runs off.
Actually, one of my wife's friends, a good friend from high school, one of her best friends actually, had 3 kids, and then one day just disappeared, and nobody knows where she is. She just took off. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. Well, all sorts of stuff happens, but this is why I decided to be a company lawyer and not a family lawyer, because man, everyone you're dealing with is having the worst day of their lives.
Yeah.
Not fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really heavy stuff. Anyway, that's a question I had for you from those.
Wow.
But,
those are some questions.
Yeah. Are you gonna do a live? Are you gonna do a live show after this? Are you gonna do?
I'll do a DJ set. Yeah. Lots of people always. It's always fun having people request tracks, and I go buy half of them later on.
You want to go through the comments real quick? I think we have a lot of comments, and maybe answer something here.
Yeah.
Quite a few comments came in while we were talking here. This guy Nesta was robbed for 1,000 yen, mugged for 1,000 yen.
Nesta was mugged for 1,000 yen?
Yeah, and he went to the police.
Oh, rice. This wasn't the rice. He was actually mugged.
Yeah, and he went to the police, and they gave the mugger ample warning to leave him alone, but that was it.
Yeah.
People are saying I could spill water on Sigma Boy if I see him, like just spill my water on his speaker by accident.
Yeah. That would be a solution. Any questions? Rapid fire. Hit us with any questions you've got for us. Hit us right now, and we will answer. It's hard for me to go back and find the comments, and we're just going to.
I'm just reading through right now. R-rated stream tonight, boys and girls. Really?
I think that was where I was reacting to you saying something about fucking
mother.
Yeah. Boxes or briefs, Victor?
I got the ones that are in between. I got the hybrids.
Oh, like where they cup you separately.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're kind of briefs.
Are those good? I've seen all the YouTubers are sponsored by those guys.
They're comfy, but I think they don't last as long. The boxers last forever.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that.
Okay, I'm a briefs person. I need to be held.
Yeah, I like to be held.
Yeah.
I like to know where everything is.
What is the speed of an unladen swallow? Ask. Believe in yourself. Well, that depends. Are you talking about the European swallow or the African swallow? Because as everybody knows, they're different. Favorite daily team. Question: What's your next trip plan? Asks Aaron.
Hokkaido or Okinawa?
Nice.
Let's just take the kids local next time.
Yeah,
we're saving money. I told my kids the other day. I said, how about we take our next 3 vacations, go somewhere local, and then in 4 years, I take you guys to Africa, do a safari, right? And they're like, no, we want to go to Africa. No, it's dangerous. They're big insects. They're already like
the Japanese
fighting me so vehemently about how they don't want to go to Africa. I go, fine.
Africa would be awesome, but yeah.
I said, fine. Look, we don't have to talk about it now. I'm just suggesting it, but Oh my God, it was a battle.
Well, be careful at the airport. They might, when you try taking them to Africa, the airport, they might ask, "Are they with you?" And they'll say, "I've never seen this person in my life." Yeah, I'm going to France in a few weeks for the first time, so looking forward to
Oh
that.
really? France?
On TV, yes.
Are you going through America or going direct?
I don't think. Can you go through America? No, no, going direct.
Hey, what do you think about people traveling to America right now? Because you know you've heard all the stories of tourists getting hassled.
Oh, about the immigration stuff. I mean,
And,
I'm
you know,
gonna have to go there for work in September. So I'm going to Australia in August and Seattle in September. I don't know. I like the idea that now they're actually stopping people and making them go through. Have you ever said anything bad about President Trump on all your social media going back for years? And I heard they'll do this. They'll actually randomly pull people out, take them to a side room, and make you log into all of your social media and show it to them. And they'll use software to search through if you've ever like said anything bad, and sometimes turn people away.
Yeah,
like tourists and stuff.
Israel does that too. Israel says you can't go into the country unless you give them the password to their Facebook. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, Israel's security, I kind of, although that sounds like that's more than just security. Their security is famous, right? They'll always do background checks on people before you can get on the planes. But
really?
America's
before you get on the plane, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, no, LL is like super famous for that. But America, that's a totally different situation to America. Yeah, no, America's a little bit crazy. I have to go for work, so I'm going to go. I'm not going to try not to think about it. But yeah, I've heard horror stories actually. And it's just like, yeah, they're just being dicks as a policy by the sounds of it. So yeah.
What does Dan say? What is it? I lost it.
Can you melt ice and swim in it without getting wet? Dan is asking any interesting Japanese news this week. I was actually there's going to be like
a woman found a Japanese guy under her bed, a foreign woman. You heard about that?
Yeah, a foreign tourist found a smelly Japanese guy under her bed, right, in a hotel room or something.
Yeah, is that true? Or was it debunked?
Apparently, I don't know how it happened, but I think I saw something about that. Yeah. The Japanese surnames, by the way, the law to recognize separate surnames. Apparently, like 4 parties they're all like fighting to submit a bill for the same thing.
They all agree.
And the LDP's probably except the LDP's probably they've decided to just let the opposition submit it, and they're probably gonna vote it down. We'll find out next week if Japan will recognize separate surnames, which are the default if you're in an international marriage. But if you're Japanese, you don't have the option. So we'll find out about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Foreigners get a right that Japanese don't?
Sorry, no, the other way around. Japanese don't get the right to say. Right now, currently, Japanese, if you're 2 Japanese people and you get married, you're not allowed to choose to have separate surnames.
You have to have the same, right?
One or the other. But if you're a foreigner, the default is that you don't have the same surname, right? You actually have to go and get your name changed.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
So Japanese want the option to have separate surnames, but right now we have separate surnames by default, and they're not allowed, even if they want to have separate surnames, to have it. So they're going to have a law to.
Just a minute. Your wife's surname is different from yours?
We were originally separate. When my son was born, we unified it. I was like, given that I know my legal rights about we just talked about parental custody and divorce. And I sort of said, look, 60% of international marriages fail. So I want to make sure at least he's got my name. A little bit negative, but yeah. So I used that at that point I asked for the same surname.
Okay. No, because my wife insisted. I was quite willing to get a Japanese last name. Yeah. I was going to take hers. I just assumed it'd be easier since we live in Japan. Yeah. But she's like, no, I want to become Italian. But I'm not really Italian, just my name is Italian.
Yeah.
So she took my name.
Yeah. It was a sore point with us, actually, because there aren't many males in my family. Like my name is kind of unusual. It doesn't sound unusual, but it is. But so I was like, I sort of wanted to, have the boy carry on the name, but but no, my wife was adamant. If you want the same name, you just take the Japanese name, and she still brings it up. And my son brings up as well. Would have been better if we'd all had the Japanese name. So, yeah. They get to run guilt on me for that forever. But like I said, I was cool having separate names until the kid anyway.
I see.
Maybe why I've never had a trouble, at the airport or anything like that. But yeah. So, wow. Anyway, as always, thank you, everybody. It's been a great turnout tonight, especially Victor. You always go to sleep at 9 o'clock, which, you're on New Zealand time, basically.
Yeah.
So I appreciate this.
I'll sleep in late tomorrow. I'll get up at 7 like a normal person. That's all right.
I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I'm going to go over onto Tokyo Digital Crew, where I will play requests, basically, do my DJ set. But yeah, we should keep this going. Oh, and someone mentioned earlier, when are we going to do a stream with Kurt? We should do a stream with Kurt.
Yeah, no, I'm all for that.
Yeah,
Kurt's a great guy, and I'm sure he has a lot to tell us.
So you know what? Let's make that the goal. He's in Japan now, and I want to catch up with him anyway. I haven't talked with him since he got to Japan.
Yeah,
so,
he was on a couple of videos on. Like I checked out. He watched my videos. I watched his videos. So yeah,
right.
I'll talk to him. So
let's do that.
I talked to him on Facebook too. So
maybe next month. This time next month, I'm going to be traveling. But you know what? Sometime between now and next month, maybe even sooner. Maybe we do an earlier. The next 2.5 Oyajis will be coming up, and it will be with Kurt.
Great.
We'll say it now. So we'll sort that out. So yeah,
we'll
great to see everyone.
We'll figure out when he's free and
and
we'll release a video. Okay, great. Good to see you, man.
No, good to have you, Zach, and everyone else, and thanks for joining. And be back with Tokyo Tonight next week.
Ronan and Dave, get some better internet, man.
Yeah, and that's right. When he said he had a 2017 MacBook, seriously, I thought it was a 1997 MacBook with the old dial-up internet. After party link. Aaron's got it there. Remember, like the video, because I do not monetize these videos. I only do it literally for nuts, which may be at least the same size as Victor's over there. For peanuts and likes. So I do appreciate that. And see you all next week, and join me for the after party.
You guys have a good time.
Yeah.
Good night.
Later. Ending the stream.